Right, I bought some stuff to sort the carpet out, hopefully. I'm just going to basically put some stuff on the carpet, brush it in, just leave it to dry on its own. It's going to smell musty for a while, but that's okay. That's okay, yeah. Well, because if I put it in and take it out, all of the crap that's underneath is just going to be there anyway, so hopefully this will basically be more powerful than that is, at least for a while, until I can properly get the carpet done. Yeah, well, the problem is, because the carpet is still full of hair, it means that I can't put the stuff from the Vax thing, once it soaks up the water, into the toilet. I can't put it on the stony area because, you know, doggies coming back, especially puppies, they lick the stones, so that could be bad for them. So, yeah. Anyway, just put some music on the car. That song, No Matter What, by Boyzone. Wow. I don't think it's originally by Boyzone. I think they could be Cat Stevens, possibly. They did one of Cat Stevens' one, didn't they? Yeah. But that wasn't that one. No. Anyway, gorgeous song. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, right. I did the video earlier up here talking about the fact that society has sort of moved the lines. Another area society has moved the lines is that now, you know, you've got these young ladies, I've said it before, who are doing the OnlyFans and who are jetting off to Saudi Arabia to have sex with these incredibly rich people for £100,000. Quite often, the money which they would never actually see. But they see the money, but because they're paid in cash, in that country, you have to explain where you got the money from, and prostitution is illegal. So therefore, they can't explain where they got the money from. Therefore, the authorities take the money back off them. They probably give the money back to the people who paid the girls in the first place. I imagine it's a bit of a scam that's going on. You know, how to use European or American girls. You can't blame the men. Really, they're rich. They're going to do what they do because they're rich. They're going to take the piss out of these girls. But the problem is, these girls are quite happy to be taken the mickey out of, and their parents are quite happy for them to do it. You know, they justify it, don't they? And that's the problem is now we're justifying stuff. We're using terrible logic to justify stuff. You know, and that's okay. That's not being challenged by society. As I said, that's the church. The church is completely and utterly to blame for that. You know? The church should be standing up and saying, don't do this stuff, it's bad for you. The church should be raising the point at a national level and saying, we need to talk about this. We need to stop our young women going down this path of prostitution. Because even OnlyFans, what is OnlyFans? Yeah, these women, young women, you know, they have a YouTube channel and something like that, and then they have an OnlyFans, and they basically, you know, show and do things on the OnlyFans thing. You know, you pay a certain amount of money for it, and the people that pay the most money a month, and that could be a lot of money, you know, $100 a month, $100 a month from one person. You get 100 people, that's a lot of money each month they've got coming in. But they've got to do stuff, and they've got to show stuff, and you know, at the least it's soft porn, at the worst it's full porn. You know, it's like, you're doing this for money? God. People have devalued themselves. They really have. Society has, you know, all this crap about women, you know, being, you know, big and brave and capable. This is what they really have devalued themselves to. Some of them. And the other women that support this, come on, what are you doing supporting this? You know that this is not what the whole fight was for, apparently. Yeah. As I said, you know, rights and equal rights has got nothing to do with God. You know, the way society changes, God doesn't care. All the time society changes, God doesn't care. What the heck is all that? Spider webs, you can see every spider web now. Look at that. I'm not sure. Can you see it? Hopefully you can see it. That is beautiful. Wow. That is most stunning. You can see every single spider web now. That is just gorgeous. That is a sight to behold. That is beautiful. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. Wow. Yeah, I don't like spiders particularly, but that is, whoa. That is impressive, though. Yeah, very much so. And you should be able to see that one there. Yeah. Whoa. They're just so visible now because of the, sorry, you're just about to see that one there. It goes up to this leaf as well, so, with this branch. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Beautiful. All around there as well. Whoa. That is... Well, most of the time when it's raining like this, you don't come out, yeah. But when you do, you get to see this. You get a bit wet, but you get to see that. That is incredible. Look at that bottom of that tree. That is beautiful. Look. Whoa. That's just spider webs. Wow. That is so impressive. That is stunning, that, isn't it? Look at that. You get the same in winter when you get the frozen. You get to see the frozen webs. Oh, wow. It's a beautiful sight. I mean, yeah, as I say, you might not like spiders, but yeah, their webs are just a thing to see. They really are. Very impressive. That they have that ability to do that. That's the point. Look at this, right? Spiders, society changes. Spiders don't care. They still do their webs. They just get on with their business. They just do their job. What they're supposed to do. What they're put on earth to do, they just do that. They don't care whether society thinks this is okay or that is okay now. So earlier on I said about I shouldn't really be doing things about society and stuff like that. Yeah, no, you should really. Certainly from this sort of point of view, talking about the fact the church has massively failed. Because the church should be the one that stand up and saying, what are you doing? Why are you going down this direction? Are you insane? Yeah? Crazy. Right, you've now got the opposition leader of the UK talking about that the Tory party isn't as right-wing as what they should be. You've got the left-wing politician having a go at the right-wing party for them not being as right-wing as they should be and not doing right-wing policies, even though we just come out of a bloody COVID virus thing. Right, so the country is knackered because of that. And you're having a go at them about not being as right-wing. Again, the church should be standing up and telling this moron to sit down and shut up, really, shouldn't they? Yeah? Should be. They should be. It's absolutely... Oh. The problem is, as I say, the church has been influenced by all this stuff. Rather than influencing, the church has been influenced. And it's because, yeah, 1940s, 50s, 60s, sort of change where the church was so sort of with a heavy foot on society. Society basically pushed the foot off and said, yeah, you can go take a run. And the church said, oh, I'm sorry, oh, we're so sorry, oh, we're so sorry, oh, we're so sorry. You know, and so instead of dealing with the issues with the church, as in why, society basically told the church to shut off. And it was fair. Society was fair with that, basically saying to the church, excuse me, you can go take a run now. Yeah, the church had been all over one side of the hell, damnation, you know, all that sort of stuff. Not talking about mercy, grace, not talking about love, not talking about any of that sort of stuff. Yeah. Why do I talk about hell, damnation and stuff like that now? Because that's all gone out of the church. Because they got that out of the church. Instead of actually dealing with it and saying, well, we should really be talking about the whole thing rather than just talking about one side, they said, let's switch sides. Let's go the other side instead. Let's not do this side anymore. What, are you only capable of doing one half of the picture? You're only capable of showing one half? But no, society is, it's dangerous. The way society is going, it's dangerous for the young people. You've got all these young women who are going to have to wake up to the reality of what they've done for money. Even if they manage to take the money and get the money from what they're doing, they're going to wake up to the fact that this is how they got the money. Yeah, they were talking to a girl. I've seen this girl before. I think someone else has done the same video. This young lady has spent £100,000 on 4 Brazilian butt lifts, basically to make her butt look a lot bigger. And it looked ridiculous. She had face lifts as well to make her face look fatter. And she looked ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. She made everything look a bit bigger. Just eat more, you dozy cow. £100,000 on 4 butt lifts. Eat more. You want to put on weight? You want to look bigger? Eat more. They're interviewing her sister with her. She's basically telling her sister she can have another butt lift. And her sister's saying, look, I'm a bit concerned. You've already had a number of these. You keep on doing this stuff. It's getting a bit concerning. A bit concerning? Oh, dear. It's insane right now. It really is. I mean, you're getting stuff put into your body to make yourself like a certain image. That's just bizarre. I mean, look, it's not necessarily anything unusual for society. You know, certainly going back a few hundred years ago, women wore incredibly tight corsets that nearly broke their bloody ribs to have a certain look, yeah. Women squeezed their boobs in with their big boobs because society liked smaller boobs. Yeah, and it was painful for them. And they went through it because that's the way society wanted things. It's insane. Trying to live according to the way society now wants things to be done is just mental. All these women that are having these butt lifts, once society then decides, no, the small butt is what's needed. And that could change overnight at any point in time. At any point in time, that could just change. These women are going to have to go back. They're going to have all this stuff retaken out. Oh, Jesus Christ. They're doing all this to their body. It's insane. Because society decides that this is a new look. You know, the Kardashians are part of the reason. You know, they've had all this plastic surgery and this work done. And people think that this is what they should do. So, you know, the women prostitute themselves so they can raise enough money, you know, $100,000 or whatever. Where's she getting that money from? She's doing something she probably shouldn't be doing, isn't she, really? If that's £100,000 just on the 4 butt lifts, what about all the other work she's had done? Yeah? It's madness. Utterly and totally madness. But as I say, God doesn't care. Yeah, there'll be a lot of people going to heaven, oh, but it was right in society. They're going to be very surprised when God says, and? I don't care. You know, just because the whims of society took things in a different direction, it doesn't make any difference at all. You know? My ways were still my ways. My will was still my will. Yeah, you weren't doing things according to my ways and my will. Well, there you go. You know? That was you deciding that. You know, you wanted to do this stuff just because society said it's acceptable doesn't mean it is. Certainly the church, what the heck are you doing? I'm not going to remember what society wants. I said, you know, I walked into, I've said this before, Christian bookshop. The young lady serving, God knows how old she was, probably 18, hopefully 18. You know, she's got an incredibly low top where you can see most of her cleavage. Incredibly short skirt. It's like, for goodness sake, you're working in a Christian bookshop. Yeah, you're covered up, but barely. You know, if you have to go over there to bend over to pick up a book, I'm going to see everything. I shouldn't be seeing everything. You're not married to me, are you? Yeah, you're not mine, so I shouldn't be seeing anything of yours at all. That should be your understanding. You're a Christian woman. That's why you're working here. But your understanding is dressed like the rest of the world. It's madness. So look, I don't blame the world for going in whatever direction the world wants to go in. It's always done it, hasn't it? It's always done that. There's always been fashions and ways of, yeah. There's always been that sort of thing. Go right back, 1,000 years ago, there's been some sort of, where people in society try to live up to this image or this sort of look, or this sort of new fad. Yeah, of course it has. But the church, come on. Come on. I mean, I used to be one of these people that used to get a phone every year. A new phone every year on contract. The newest phone. I had to have it. Looking around to see what should be the best one. Haven't done it for a long time. Just haven't done it. And when I do get a new phone, I just buy it outright. I don't go and buy one on contract anymore. But as I say, I've still got the Samsung S10 and S10 Plus. I've got the S8 before that, so I didn't get the S9. I just waited for the S10, and then it didn't bother with the ones after that yet. Not yet. This is a good phone. It does the job. It's still working. Why get something else if it's still working? Fine. But there are people who camp outside of shops to wait for the newest phone. For days. You get this one. Oh, I'm not sure. Do you get that one? See, I might change the light. No, I'm not sure. Do you get it? Oh, nearly. You can probably just about see it there. I guess so. Yeah. Either that or it's a little stick that's floating in midair. What do you think? Hi. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's the point. People get disheartened. That's why there's a lot of people that are hopeless, because they see the way society's going, and society doesn't seem to care. Doesn't seem to care about people, does it? Not in any way, shape or form. There's no concern about people. It's concerned to, you don't want to say anything in case you get attacked by these people that attack. That's a certainty. There's a lot of people certainly disagree with the way society's heading, disagree with a lot of policies that governments are bringing up, but they won't say anything because they don't want to be attacked. There's a lot of people that truly believe in all this crap, and they're pushing these agendas, and it's like, what are you doing? Now, as I say, society's going to have to adjust at some point, and guarantee you one thing: when it does, you won't like the look of it, because the more you swing it to the left, the more it's going to swing back to the right. If you are left wing, then use a bit of wisdom. The more you keep pushing, the more they're going to push back, and eventually they're going to win the other side, because society is going to get fed up with what you're doing. They're going to side with the right. So we've had enough of this left. Let's go to the right. And of course, the right can say, well, we can push just as much as they did because they did, so we can do it now. That won't be very nice, will it? Put it this way, we don't want a church that's all sin, damnation, no love, no grace, no mercy, none of the fellowship and forbearance and all this sort of stuff, which there should be. And put it this way, should there be forbearance with everyone? No, of course not. No. With people that want to hurt you, should you forbear with these people? No. With people that are just, damaged people and people that are struggling in life, you forbear with them. Forbear just means basically you understand who they are, you understand where they are, they're not in a good place, but you just, okay. Yeah, I'll stay beside you. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to forsake you. I'm going to stay beside you. I know you're struggling. I'm going to put up with that. Forbear basically means put up with it. Just in a nicer way. Yeah, it's a kinder way of saying it. But you have forbear, you have forgive, all that sort of stuff, you know. Aye. Oh dear. I mean, put it this way. I mean, one thing I will say quite straight. Yeah, people may not believe this from the videos I've done in the past, but I don't hold anything against my neighbours. Not really. Not really. I get peed off, you know, especially with things like this. Yeah, of course. And I go back through the catalogue of things. And the reason is because, well, for example, when the authorities are dealing with this sort of issue, what annoys me about the authorities is that they're like, well, you've got previous. There's a pattern of behaviour. Well, look at their pattern of behaviour, right? Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, less of that. The point of it is that, yeah. I forgive them from the point of view that I'm not going to hold against them what they did. God is going to, but I'm not. That's the point. I've got to still teach about the fact that God is going to hold people accountable for stuff like that, but you shouldn't. As I said, you know, worst comes to the worst, right? I was speaking to Stuart about this the other day. Let's speak about one of the worst things, shall we? Just to give an example. Not of my example, just give an example of one of the worst things, right? Now, I'm going to try and tread as carefully here as I possibly can. We have in society right now where they talk about a rape culture. Now, I don't believe there is a rape culture, and when it's been discussed, even a lot of women who think there is can't really back them up. However, there are women who have been raped. Now, with those women, if they cannot forgive the people that did this against them, every time they see anything on TV of something similar happen, that pain of what they went through comes back. They need to forgive the person who attacked them, the person who raped them. If they do, they don't set the person free. They only set themselves free. Right? That's the reality. When you don't forgive people, you're not actually hurting them, you're hurting you. Because when you forgive people, that doesn't make any difference whatsoever as to whether they've repented and whether they've been forgiven by God. It only sets you free from what they've done to you. Yeah? Because in the end, you're not forgiving someone who's done that to you. Do you really think that person really cares whether you've forgiven them or not? No. And if that person has repented already, they've been forgiven by God, but you're still rolling around in agony every time you see something on TV like that. Because what that person did comes rushing straight back to you. So, no. When you forgive others, you don't set them free, you set you free. You set you free from what they've done. Same as like if someone is a gossip, if someone is something like that, and they've gossiped about you and you forgive them. If you don't forgive them, then every time you see them, every time you hear them gossiping, straight away you remember what they've done against you and you feel that anger rise up again. When you forgive them, you don't need to remember what they did to you. Not 1 second, we've got people coming here. 1 sec. Anyway, there's people with a dog behind. That dog is a bit of a nutcase, jumping up on its owner all the time. Well, what looks to be its owner. Nutcase. On a big long lead that keeps them getting tangled up its own lead. Aye. Now, unforgiveness is a bitch. Really, oh, jeez. It cripples people. It really does. Well, I've said before, there's a book I have this bloke was a surgeon. He would have people coming to him talking about their bad backs, and as a Christian, he'd speak to them about what's going on in their life and any unforgiveness they got. Now, of course, they're sort of, excuse me, unforgiveness. What are you on about? When he pushed it a bit further, and they went, well, yeah, there is this. He encouraged them to forgive that person, and when they forgave, the back pain went. Just went. Now, I can't tell you why necessarily. I'm not going to go gushing all about that. I'm simply going to say that we are physical, we are emotional, we are mental, and we are spiritual. If one of our parts is out of whack, it's going to affect the others. That's the reality. How it affects the other parts, well, depending upon the person, really, depending upon the situation. Yeah, but if any of our parts are out of whack, it's going to affect the others. That's the reality. So if your spiritual is wrong, then it's going to affect your physical, it could affect your mental, certainly mental, and your emotional. Normally, it affects people mentally and emotionally, not necessarily physically, but sometimes even physically. Why not? Why couldn't it? Look at how people react to stress. When people are stressed, they can be stressed because of things that have happened, and it can affect them physically, can't it? It's a emotional or mental thing, but it can affect the other, certainly those other two areas, in mental, emotional, physical. Aye. And it can affect the spiritual. If you're a Christian and you get highly stressed out, that can affect you spiritually. Aye. That's why you need good people around you. That's why you need strong people around you. People that aren't concerned about, being attacked if they offend you. People that know you and you know them well enough to know that if they say something that offends you, they're not trying to offend you. Yeah? They just said something that happened to offend you. Yeah? Even with friends say things in anger. Doesn't mean anything, does it? People say things in anger. Doesn't mean anything at all. No. It's what people do in the cold light of day. What people do in anger, let it go, don't worry about it. But forgiving people is really important. But as I say, that's a spiritual thing. That's not a worldly thing, is it? Yeah. Because the world doesn't say about that. The world says that people have to pay. Yeah. Yeah. But those who then go by that principle and try and enforce that upon others, even though they're not the law, but try and act as if they are equal to the law and they can make people pay, well then, they come a crop of Matthew 7. Well, put it this way, the lawmakers. Did the lawmakers come a crop of Matthew 7? No, because there's laws put in place. They're simply obeying the law. If the law says if you do this, then this really is what's going to happen, then they have to do that. That's the law of the land. You as an individual deciding to pass out punishment on somebody, that's a completely different thing. I'm not saying that lawmakers can be always innocent of these sort of things, because no, that they can certainly make things personal. Because that's the thing, generally speaking, with a judge, it's not personal, it's a job. It's their job. It's their job to do that. The difference with an individual is that it's personal. And if a lawmaker or a judge makes a judgment in a personal way against somebody, then they're out of order. And generally speaking, if they do that, then that judgment is usually struck off. Isn't it? That judgment is usually appealed because it's personal, because the judge made a personal attack on an individual, and it was personal for the judge to make that person pay. That's counted as an unlawful judgment. So generally speaking, anyone in that sort of situation gets that overturned, that judgment. Yeah, society changes, God doesn't care. God's will, God's ways stay the same. But again, understanding that, yeah. That's the thing, understanding that, understanding what that is because you can't go by the church, can you? The church are the ones who basically, when society started going a bit askew, said, oh no, we're going to be influenced by you, not the other way around. You can't go by what they say about Christianity or about the way it's supposed to be, can you? Because they've got it pretty wrong up to now, haven't they, really? Yeah. One second, before I end this, one thing I will say is, if you want some idea that from a Christian point of view, where it went from just Jews to Jews and Gentiles, look at Acts 11. That's where we're given that picture, Acts 11. Because certainly before Acts 11, it was mainly the case where the church went to Jewish people, didn't go to Gentiles. Generally speaking, that wasn't the case. Certainly the apostles that walked with Yeshua didn't. But then God gave Peter a vision of food that was unclean, and Peter said, I can't touch that, it's unclean. And God said, don't call what I've cleansed, unclean. And then God brought some Gentiles to him. And that's when Peter understood that this isn't just for Jews, this is for everyone, this belief. And so that's when it really started to take off, because it went all over. So that really was the beginning of Christianity as it was supposed to be, rather than just a Jewish church, a new Jewish church. Because initially that's what it was a new Jewish church, wasn't it? But that changed. There you go, you can see that. Oh yeah, oh, you can see that one. Yes. Look at that. Oh, lovely. Look at that, beautiful, isn't it, eh? Stunning. Yeah. Ugh. Well, what we've done with the church since then wasn't very good, but yeah, there's still time to fix it. There is. Part of the reason, I suppose, why I'm talking about this is the last video I talked about the fact that, the fact that I feel that I failed to a certain degree as a Christian in my area that I'm called in, and really this is, my area. Talking about the church and dealing with the church and that sort of stuff. So, yeah. And I was talking about society changing. The way the lines have been moved, and so it seemed appropriate to talk about that again. I've put it this way, in my videos you're going to see a lot of subjects be repeated over time. Yeah. Well, and that's because of the fact that, generally speaking, our people that watch a video, say if they like a subject, are they going to trawl back through every single video and watch every single one? Not likely. They'll probably just watch the next one. In which case, when I've done these subjects before, maybe 6 months ago, you're not going to go and see that video. But if you watch the last one, then you might watch this one. So you'll get an idea of it from this one. Like yesterday, I did the video and talking about the fact of the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. But I gave the example of the shop, where only through aisle 7 in this shop in this town. Well, I've done that about 3 times before. Previous one I did, in Tesco's, in this aisle, in this town, named the town, named the Tesco's, named the aisle. This time I didn't name the shop, didn't name the town, so kept it a bit vaguer. Yeah, so people can attribute it to maybe a shop they know and in a town they know, to make it more relevant to them. That's just how God led yesterday. But so there you go. I just thought I'd mention that because obviously I have mentioned these things before. I've spoken about before, and I will speak about them again, most likely. So, there you go. You take care, God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.